If you're a die-hard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. Myles Garrett's offseason has been nothing short of dramatic, and if anyone thought his loyalty to the Cleveland Browns was dwindling, they might want to look again. At first, things looked bleak. Garrett requested a trade, and for a hot minute, it seemed like the face of the Browns' defense was on his way out. Fans were panicking, analysts were speculating on social media. Well, it was on fire, but then came the twist. The Browns threw down a monster contract extension, and Garrett decided to stay. It was a major win for Cleveland, locking down one of the league's most feared defensive players. Yet even with that massive payday, one decision from the front office left Garrett reeling: the departure of Nick Chubb. That wasn't just another transaction for him. That was personal. Chubb was more than a teammate. He was part of the soul of that locker room. And now, he's a Houston Texan. When Garrett stepped up to the mic during mandatory minicamp, his tone was different. You could sense the frustration beneath the surface. He wasn't just answering questions, he was making a point. Speaking candidly, Garrett admitted that he had actively lobbied for Chubb to stay in Cleveland. This wasn't a passing thought. It was part of his off-season discussions with GM Andrew Berry, and if you read between the lines, it's clear Garrett wasn't happy with how those conversations turned out. ESPN's Daniel Oyefusi reported the comments, and they've since sparked a wave of responses from Browns fans and insiders alike. Garrett wanted Chubb back, plain and simple, but the Browns front office had a different vision, a colder, more calculated one. And this isn't just about football. This is about relationships, trust, and the emotional toll of the business side of the game. Now, let's talk about Chubb. At 29 years old and fresh off a devastating knee injury in September 2023, it's no secret that he wasn't the same explosive back we'd grown used to seeing. Chubb has always been a workhorse, a bruiser with speed and vision, but after that injury, his 2024 season didn't inspire much hope for a full comeback. He managed just 332 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns across 8 games, averaging only 3.3 yards per carry. Then came another blow, a broken foot in December. It was a brutal stretch for one of the NFL's most respected runners. From a performance standpoint, it made sense that the Browns would look elsewhere, and they did. In the 2025 NFL Draft, Cleveland grabbed 2 new halfbacks, signaling loud and clear: it's time for a new era in the backfield. But numbers and strategy don't always soften the emotional blow of losing a cornerstone. Garrett's frustration isn't just about stats. It's about identity. Nick Chubb embodied the Browns' grit, their work ethic, and their relentless drive. He was the guy who didn't talk much but let his play do all the speaking. For years, fans pointed to Chubb as the heart of the offense, the silent leader who showed up every single day. Losing him feels like ripping a piece out of the franchise's core. Garrett knows that. He's lived it. He's been in the trenches with Chubb, celebrated wins, mourned losses, and built a bond that goes far beyond the playbook. So yeah, when the front office let Chubb walk, even if it made business sense, it hit Garrett hard. And instead of hiding those emotions, he put them on display. That kind of transparency? It's rare in today's NFL, and it says a lot about who Myles Garrett really is. There's also the locker room dynamic to consider. Losing a player like Chubb doesn't just change the depth chart, it shifts the entire atmosphere. For a guy like Garrett, who's now stepping into an even larger leadership role, these decisions matter. He's not just watching players come and go, he's watching the culture evolve in real time. And let's not forget, Garrett just recommitted to the Browns long term. He could have walked, could have started fresh somewhere else, but he stayed. And with that commitment came expectations, not just about winning, but about maintaining a certain standard. The loss of Chubb might feel like a crack in that foundation. Garrett's comments suggest he's not just worried about losing a friend, he's concerned about what this means for the team's identity moving forward. Still, there's a harsh reality here that even Garrett can't ignore. Football is a business. And in the business of football, sentimentality doesn't pay the bills. The Browns looked at Chubb's declining production, his injury history, and his age, and they made a calculated decision. From their perspective, moving on was necessary to stay competitive. And you know what? They're not wrong. No matter how beloved a player is, The NFL is a league built on constant change. You either evolve or you get left behind. Cleveland clearly decided it was time to evolve, and in doing so, they handed the keys to a younger, healthier backfield. For Chubb, that meant finding a new home, and he landed in a pretty good one with the Houston Texans, a team ready to contend in 2025. Ironically, this split might end up benefiting both sides. Chubb gets a fresh start with a new contender, while the Browns double down on their youth movement. And as tough as it is for Garrett right now, time has a way of healing these wounds. Eventually, he'll likely see the bigger picture. Maybe not today, maybe not next week, but one day Garrett will look back and realize that this was a necessary chapter in the Browns' evolution. That doesn't make it any easier, though. When you've gone to battle with someone for years, watching them leave, especially under circumstances you tried to prevent, stings. And that sting doesn't fade overnight. It lingers. It reminds you that loyalty, as rare and beautiful as it is, doesn't always win in the NFL. And let's not forget how personal this feels for the fan base. Browns fans adored Chubb. His jersey was a bestseller, his highlights were must-watch, and his quiet, hard-nosed demeanor made him a local legend. To many, he represented everything Cleveland football is supposed to be. Losing him, especially without a proper send-off, hurts. And hearing Garrett speak up about it, that just amplifies the emotion. Because when a player like Myles Garrett voices frustration, it validates the fans' heartbreak. It tells them they're not alone in mourning this loss. It also sends a message to the front office. The players are watching, the fans are watching, and every decision echoes far beyond the boardroom. This wasn't just a personnel move, it was a cultural shift. And its impact will be felt well into the 2025 season. As minicamp rolls on, all eyes will be on how Garrett leads this new-look Browns squad. There's a new backfield, a restructured roster, and fresh expectations. But one thing hasn't changed. Garrett's commitment. He could have left. He didn't. And now, with Chubb gone, Garrett becomes even more crucial to the team's emotional and competitive heartbeat. His voice carries weight, maybe more now than ever. So while he may not have gotten his way with the front office, he's still setting the tone for the locker room. And in the long run, that might be just as important. Because in a league where change is constant, leadership is the glue. Garrett's leadership, tested and sharpened by this offseason's drama, could end up being the Browns' most valuable asset. In the end, Garrett's candid words reflect a deeper truth about professional sports. It's not just about numbers or contracts or playbooks. It's about people. It's about bonds forged through sweat, struggle, and sacrifice. When those bonds are broken, it leaves a mark. Garrett felt that loss. He owned it. And in doing so, he reminded everyone, fans, teammates, executives, that heart still matters in his game. Maybe the Browns made the right call in letting Chubb go. Maybe Chubb would thrive in Houston and Cleveland's rookies will rise. But thanks to Garrett, we won't forget what Chubb meant to this team. Not anytime soon. Because sometimes in the middle of the stats and strategy, someone stands up and speaks from the heart. And when that someone is Myles Garrett, you listen. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. All right, folks. Here's some juicy rumbling shaking the NFL world. Travis Kelce, yes, the star tight end of the Kansas City Chiefs, is reportedly furious. And guess what? SHEDEUR Sanders is right in the eye of the storm. Now hold on to your hats, because this isn't just some locker room drama. The whispers say this clash is rocking the Cleveland Browns locker room to its core. Imagine the tension, the heat behind the scenes. What could have sparked such a fierce reaction from Kelce? Is it something on the field, off the field, or a simmering rivalry that just boiled over? The Browns, already navigating a maze of challenges this season, might be facing even more turbulence if this beef keeps bubbling. What's intriguing is that SHEDEUR Sanders, still carving his name in the league, might have unintentionally stepped on some toes. Travis Kelce, known for his dominance and competitive edge, doesn't usually hold back when it comes to calling out anyone he feels is disrespecting the game or himself. Could SHEDEUR's recent performances, style, or even comments have triggered Kelce's ire? The rumor mills are buzzing that Sanders, with his rising star power, might be seen by Kelce as a threat, or maybe just an irritant, stirring the pot in a way that nobody expected. It's not every day you see a young talent shake up a seasoned veteran, and if this story has legs, it could lead to some serious fireworks. There's also talk about how this tension might affect the Browns' dynamics. SHEDEUR Sanders, being a key player for Cleveland, is supposedly caught in a tricky spot. If KELCE'S frustration translates into public calls or indirect shots during games or interviews, it could put pressure on the Browns to manage the fallout. The locker room culture in Cleveland is under scrutiny. Could this be the crack that widens into a chasm? Fans and insiders alike are speculating whether the Browns coaching staff can keep things smooth or if they'll have to step in to cool down this fiery feud. The NFL thrives on drama, but when it hits a team's core, it can change the whole season's trajectory. Digging deeper, some insiders hint that the origins of this dispute might be linked to a particular game or incident. Was there a play where Sanders and KELCE crossed paths? Did a trash talk escalate beyond friendly competition? These are the juicy bits fueling fan debates across social media and sports forums. The idea that KELCE could be furious suggests more than just professional. Rivalry is personal, or at least it feels that way. And if the Browns are feeling the tremors of this clash, it adds another layer of intrigue to what was supposed to be a solid team building towards playoff contention. Another angle being floated is how this tension affects team alliances and fan bases. KELCE's fans are fiercely loyal, and if he's publicly calling out or criticizing Sanders, Cleveland supporters might push back hard. This kind of feud can polarize fan communities, stirring intense debates and side-taking. In a league where player relationships and reputations matter immensely, such a rift could have ripple effects beyond just the two players. The narrative could evolve into a larger story about respect, legacy, and the battles off the field that mirror the ones on it. Looking ahead, one has to wonder how this could impact the upcoming matches. Will KELCE and Sanders meet head-to-head again soon with the tension visible on the gridiron, or will their respective teams take steps to shield the players from further escalation? The strategic moves by coaches or management will be under a microscope as everyone waits to see if this simmering feud will explode or fizzle out quietly. The drama could redefine matchups and intensify rivalries, making every encounter a must-watch spectacle as fans tune in to see if KELCE's fury manifests in spectacular plays or sharp words. Of course, the media is already circling, looking for sound bites and exclusives to feed this growing story. Interviews, social media posts, and cryptic comments could all be dissected for clues about the true nature of this clash. Some speculate that PR teams on both sides might try to downplay the situation, aiming to keep the focus on the sport rather than personal conflict. But in today's hyper-connected world, controlling the narrative is tough, and once a rumor this big takes hold, it often takes on a life of its own. Will this feud become a defining storyline of the season? Many are betting on it. Amid all the speculation, the players' professionalism will also be tested. Travis Kelce, with his veteran experience, might have to balance his passion with the need to maintain team and league harmony. SHEDEUR Sanders, young and ambitious, could either rise above the drama or let it define his early career. How they handle this situation publicly and privately will say a lot about their characters and future trajectories. This kind of confrontation could either harden their resolve or create obstacles that impact their performance and reputation moving forward. For Browns fans, this drama adds a twist they weren't expecting this season. While hoping for on-field success and playoff glory, they now must also watch how their team handles internal and external pressures. The spotlight is shifting, and the Browns leadership might need to step up more than ever to keep the team focused and united. If the KELCE-Sanders feud gains momentum, it could test the Browns' ability to maintain a strong, cohesive squad in the face of distractions. It's a story that could define their season far beyond the X's and O's of football strategy. To wrap this all up, the NFL landscape could be changing with this brewing conflict between Travis Kelce and SHEDEUR Sanders. What started as whispers and rumors might soon become a headline-making saga full of tension, passion, and rivalry. Whether it leads to public showdowns or stays behind closed doors, the impact on both players and their teams promises to be significant. Fans, analysts, and insiders will be watching closely, eager to see if this feud will ignite into one of the league's most talked about stories. or quietly fade into the background as just another sports rumor. Either way, it's a development that's got everyone buzzing. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!